Знакові події в Національній гвардії України у 2025 році. Національна гвардія здійснила важливі трансформації. Головне управління було реорганізовано за J-структурою.
Okay, it's January 1st, 2026, and you need to see this headline: How National Guard is protecting Ukrainian soil footages. Subscribe to Defense Reports, your go-to source for timely, in-depth military and defense reports. I'm Alex.
And I'm Aria.
And this is Defense Report, where we give you a sharp, no-nonsense breakdown of the latest in global defense, military tech, and strategic developments. And today we're going to cover the rapid, and I mean elite, transformation of Ukraine's defensive structures.
And a technological leap that is completely redefining the front line.
We really are. We're talking about the National Guard's brand new warfighting corps. It's led by a commander who is the youngest in Ukrainian military history.
And that's not even the biggest part. The plan is to field 15,000 combat robots this year.
It's a staggering number.
Yeah.
And we have footage, we have operational reports right from the ground revealing the daily reality of this war. From sophisticated drone strikes in the Siversk sector to the incredibly dangerous humanitarian missions that are braving Russian FPV drone attacks every single day.
The defense of Ukraine is evolving at a revolutionary pace.
And we're unpacking what that means for the conflict right now.
So our mission today is to really analyze this dual role of the National Guard of Ukraine, the NGU.
Because it's a bit of a unique structure, isn't it?
It really is. On one hand, they're in heavy combat operations. During martial law, they're subordinated to the armed forces.
Right.
But at the same time, they have to maintain their crucial civil protection and internal security work.
So it's this constant tension between being an elite fighting force and also, a protective civil service.
Exactly. And to do this, we're pulling from operational reports on the new First Corps Azov, procurement plans for those robotic systems, and some really critical, harrowing details on the civilian protection efforts happening right at the edge.
Okay, let's start with that structure then, because for anyone not familiar, the NGU is a military force, but it operates under the Ministry of Internal Affairs.
Which is a key distinction, not the Ministry of Defense.
So their traditional job is all about internal security. We're talking public order, guarding strategic sites.
It's like nuclear facilities, yeah. And countering illegal paramilitary groups.
And now they are being forged into frontline shock troops.
And that's where we see this formalization of their combat role. The big move was the creation of a new operational tactical unit, the First Corps Azov.
That was established back in March 2025.
Right. And this isn't just, moving some names around on a chart. It's a strategic recognition that their most effective, battle-hardened units need to be structured for high-impact operations.
So taking these internal security assets and forging them into the very tip of the spear.
Precisely.
And that spear tip is made up of some very well-known brigades. I'm seeing 5 of them here. What's the strategic goal of putting them all under one command?
So the Corps brings together the 1st Presidential Operational Brigade, Buravy, the 12th Special Forces Brigade, Azov, the 14th Chervona Kalina,
Right.
the 15th Karadag, and then the newly formed 20th Operational Brigade, Lubart.
These are all veteran formations.
Truly. And grouping them solves 2 problems. First, it maximizes their combat synergy for liberation operations. And second, it creates this unified identity that's rooted in modern professional standards. It's a deliberate break from older Soviet-era doctrines.
And that brings us to the leadership. It's commanded by Colonel Denis Prokopenko, Redis. And his backstory tells you a lot. He was the youngest commander in Ukrainian military history back in 2017. He took charge of the Azov regiment at just 26.
Which says everything about their current command philosophy. It's a rapid, almost brutal meritocracy. It throws out the old ideas of seniority for proven effectiveness.
So his prior achievement was basically transforming his regiment into a professional unit aligned with modern standards.
Yes, and the core objectives are crystal clear. Liberate occupied territories and just drastically increase combat effectiveness. The claim is that Azov was the first unit in Ukraine to really implement NATO standards.
But not just copy-paste them, right?
No, that's the key. They adapted them for the realities of this war. The drone saturation, the trench networks, the sheer speed of tactical changes.
So it's more than just tactical success. I saw a note that operations planned by Azov officers are now being studied in leading military academies around the world.
They are. I mean, think about that. They're literally generating the doctrine as they fight.
Which is the perfect segue to the technology, because that doctrine is completely inseparable from the tech revolution happening on the ground.
Absolutely. The reports from just today, January 1st, 2026, show the 4th Rubiz Rapid Reaction Brigade using drones to defeat enemy forces and stop them from reinforcing their positions in the Seversk sector.
And the details from the 4th Battalion's pilots, they show this ruthless efficiency. They destroy enemy dugouts, these holes as they call them, and then they hunt down the infantry that are forced to flee.
It's methodical, technologically assisted attrition.
And that brings us to that staggering goal for ground robotic systems, GRS.
Citing the Ministry of Defense Procurement Department, the goal is to supply 15,000 robots for combat use in 2025.
15,000. It's just an unbelievable number. What does a goal that ambitious say about their domestic manufacturing capabilities? Is that even possible?
Well, the feasibility really hinges on decentralized, rapid production, and the fact that GRS are designed to replace humans in the most dangerous jobs, often logistical ones.
So they fill a very specific, very dangerous niche.
A crucial one. Think about payload. A large aerial drone can carry, a few dozen kilograms?
Right.
A ground robot can carry hundreds. So they're essential for evacuating wounded soldiers, for hauling heavy cargo across contested ground.
And we're seeing them in direct combat, too.
Oh, yeah. We have examples of GRS destroying Russian positions, planting mines, laying barbed wire, even doing reconnaissance by fire, which we saw with the 13th Charter Brigade back in December.
But, new technology always has its problems. The sources are pretty clear that this is still early stage stuff. What are the biggest hurdles?
The obstacles are frustratingly practical. A reliable connection is everything, but it's easily disrupted by terrain or electronic warfare.
And they have to actually work in the environment.
Exactly. They need true all-terrain capability. We've heard stories of recovery robots getting stuck in the mud or snow while trying to save another vehicle. If they can't navigate the battlefield, they become a liability.
And they have to be cheap.
Low cost and expendable. That's fundamental.
I found the human cost part of it really interesting. A single attack GRS needs at least 4 people to operate it right now.
It does. You need someone for the platform, someone for the turret, and then a whole UAV crew just to act as a signal relay and for surveillance.
So it's still very labor intensive.
Yeah.
It highlights that gap between a procurement goal and what's actually practical in the field today.
It shows the complexity for sure, but the development is sprinting forward. You have robust models like Targan, Termite, and Gimli evolving really fast.
And then there are the bigger prototypes.
Like the Protector. That thing can carry up to a ton at 60 kilometers per hour. That's a pickup truck replacement. It moves the whole conversation from direct fire into heavy logistics.
And the military is clearly committing, right? They're expanding the teams of operators and technical specialists.
A clear sign they're determined to master this new domain.
Which brings us back to the National Guard's other core mission, the human element, the protection side. This is where that internal affairs mandate really comes into play.
Yes, and that connection is so vital. With the constant strategic pressure, the sheer volume of missile attacks, Scylla protection isn't a secondary mission. It's a survival requirement.
And the sources paint a really grim picture of civilian evacuations.
They do. You have police units, like the White Angels, risking everything. They're running up to 5 evacuations a week, pulling families out of frontline towns in Donetsk.
And the threat is becoming so much more targeted. These FPV drone attacks are now deliberately going after civilian homes and cars on evacuation routes.
The route near Dushkivka, it's only 16 kilometers from the front, and it happens all the time. The drone operators have to know they're hitting civilian vehicles.
It's part of a broader, more cynical strategy.
It is. This two-wave tactic. First, they hit critical infrastructure. Then they wait. And they deliberately target the first responders, the rescuers, who arrive to help.
And the numbers are just awful.
As of September 2023, 80 state emergency service employees had been killed and 287 injured. This is exactly why the NGU's internal security role is constantly being tested in a combat environment.
And even in the most tragic circumstances, there are systems in place. We have to talk about the humanitarian mission, Evacuation 200.
The military code name for bringing home the bodies of fallen soldiers.
It's been running since 2014 with the National Police, the Security Service, and NGOs all involved.
And this mission is just. It's essential for the moral fabric of the country. Since 2014, they've managed to bring home the bodies of nearly 2,000 Ukrainian defenders.
It's not just about logistics, is it?
Not at all. It's the emotional depth. The reports say families want to know about the last breath of their child. They want to talk to someone who was there. The mission provides dignity, closure, and crucially, documentation.
And that documentation is key for future accountability.
Yeah.
We can't lose sight of the scale of violence that makes all of this necessary.
Between February 2022 and October 2023, Russia fired over 3,000 missiles.
3,081 to be exact. The attack on the Kramatorsk railway station killed 61 people. The Dnipro apartment building strike, 46 dead.
And accountability is being pursued. That documented war crime, the execution of Alexander Matsievsky.
The unarmed POW from the Chernihiv Territorial Defense.
The video went viral. It showed him saying Slava Ukraini just before he was killed,
And Ukrainian officials have confirmed they're pursuing justice for that through the International Criminal Court.
which proves that documentation isn't just for history. It's an active front in this war, the legal front. Yeah.
So this deep dive has really shown us an army that is constantly reforming, constantly adapting, from the command structure of the NGU's elite Azov Corps to this incredible technological goal of fielding 15,000 robots.
All while executing these incredibly dangerous, life-saving humanitarian missions right on the front lines.
The military effort and the civil protection effort, they're really two sides of the same coin.
And what this ultimately tells us is that this conflict demands synchronized excellence across every domain: military, technological, and judicial. There's a quote from Supreme Court Judge Ivan Mishenko that just nails this.
What's that?
He said, "Justice, an international tribunal for Putin, and reparations for Ukraine will be impossible without our victory on the battlefield." And that really raises the core question for you to think about. Given this massive investment in technology and these institutional reforms, how must these military advancements and the judicial efforts synchronize to truly define what victory means for Ukraine?
You've been listening to Defense Report by Alex Anaria, where we analyze the latest in military strategy, global defense, and advanced weaponry. Subscribe to Defense Reports, your go-to source for timely, in-depth military and defense reports. We'll catch you next time.